Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Monday. Welcome back from the weekend. Thanks so much for being here. We're here for the next 3 hours on the sports voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our streaming video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube and WIBW News on Facebook. However, wherever, whenever you're tuned into the program today, thank you so much for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. I'll be mostly solo today. We'll have a drop in for What Is Wrong With You. But for the most part, it's you and me for the next 3 hours recapping the sports weekend that was. And there is much to discuss coming off of this past weekend. The NFL draft is in the books. The Kansas City Chiefs ended up making 7 selections in this year's NFL draft. And in a process that defies immediate passing of judgment, though that does not stop anyone in the sports media industry for trying to pass immediate judgment on such things, there is absolutely no way to pass reasonable immediate judgment on this Chiefs draft class, because it's all going to depend on how these guys play and whether or not they reach their fullest potential. Do the Chiefs have a bad draft? No. Do they do some things differently than I might have liked or than you might have liked? Yeah, probably. Was it a bad draft? I can't say that it was. Was it a good draft? Time is going to tell the tale on that. But we'll break it down. We'll take a look at how the Chiefs came out of the 3-day NFL draft and just what is the ceiling for the players that the Chiefs selected. Lots of draft talk on today's show. We'll take a look at the classes from other AFC West teams, other AFC would-be contenders. And I just have to ask a question about this year's draft class. Did all the college football I watched last fall, where pretty much every one of the draft-eligible quarterbacks for this year's class were garbage, did any of that happen, or did I make that up? Did I hallucinate an entire season of college football? Are there 2 Carson Becks? And there's one who can throw the ball down the field, and he's the one that got drafted? Are there 2 Drew Allers? And the one who's actually good at football is the one who got drafted, instead of the one I watched be the worst quarterback in every single big game he ever played in at Penn State? Are there 2 Ty Simpsons? And Dan Orlovsky's been talking about some other Ty Simpson all this time. I don't understand it. I'm a big proponent in watch the game. Don't give me the measurables. Watch the football game. I watched the football games with a lot of these quarterbacks, and honest to goodness, for the Chiefs to have taken one in this draft, I think they did pretty well for themselves with who they ended up taking in the 7th round at the quarterback position in relation to some of these bums who went in the 3rd round or earlier on day 3. So we'll get into that. Lots of NFL draft reaction on the show today. Of course, I'm going to want to hear from you guys and gals as we go along the program today. Let me know what you think of this Chiefs draft class and your other NFL draft thoughts. Lots of that to talk about on the program today. Also going to talk a little baseball because, folks, don't look now. The Royals offense starting to percolate. Scored more than 5 runs in every single game of their recently completed 6-game homestand. And in case you had tuned it out because of the rain delay, or never tuned it in at all because you couldn't get a clean radio signal and the game was only on television on Peacock, well, you missed the feel-good win of the season to date for the Kansas City Royals. A walk-off triumph over the Los Angeles Angels on Lane Thomas's 3-run home run in the 10th inning last night. And yes, last night, it was scheduled for Sunday Night Baseball. Then it got moved up. Then it got delayed. Then it went to extra innings. A long, strange night at the ballpark, culminating in a Royals win, a Royals sweep, and a winning homestand as the boys in blue head out west. No baseball tonight as the Royals make the trek to Sacramento to open a 3-game series with the Athletics tomorrow night. But reasons to be optimistic about the offense that had been so moribund for the better part of this April. It looks like things are starting to turn in some positive ways for the lineup as the calendar nears the turn of the page to the month of May. So we'll talk a little Royals baseball on the program today. We'll get into some basketball transfer portal as well. Both KU and K-State adding big men over the weekend. And is this the week, finally, that the Tyran Stokes era, or not era, the saga comes to an end? Are we finally going to get a decision from the number one high school basketball recruit in the country? We will chat about that as well on today's show. Our guest today will be Matt Verderame, our NFL insider from Sports Illustrated and SI.com. He'll join us at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour. We'll get his take on the Chiefs draft, other drafts around the league, his favorite classes, his least favorite classes, favorite picks, least favorite picks. Matt Verderame joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline at the bottom of this 3 o'clock hour. We'll have our typical Monday shenanigans as well. Got a full rack of sports headlines. Lots to get to in headlines today. Massive news that could shake up the Big 12 football season well before it even begins. In case you have not seen that, we'll get into that headline in the 5 o'clock hour. We got What Is Wrong With You today. Short week of What Is Wrong With You. We're not going to have much of a show on Thursday because of Royals baseball. And that's the final day of the month of April. So we've got our What Is Wrong With You semifinals for April tomorrow. And we're going to crown a champion for the month on Wednesday, which means we got a short week today. It is just one day of competition on What Is Wrong With You. We'll do good, bad, ugly from the weekend as well. Plus, we want to hear from you as the show goes on today. You can text the program anytime. 785-272-9429 is the number. Again, that text line is 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us on the program today in the live chat on our YouTube channel. Name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Go watch us live. Check us out on the YouTube if you've never done so before. And say hello in the live chat. See, Mark H. is in the chat today. Andrew. Vance is back after a bit of a break. Good to see Vance again. Ryan also in the chat today. Look forward to hearing from more of you as we go along today. Again, the name of the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. And go subscribe. We're only 6 subscribers shy of 950. I'd love to get to 950. Nice round number. Let's get there this week. I know there are 6 of you out there listening, haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet. Go do it. Open up your YouTube app. You got it on your phone. I know you do. Search 580 Sports Talk. Slam that subscribe button. All it costs you is a click. Join the fun over on our YouTube stream. 580 Sports Talk. Before we dive into the show, I owe you a keyword for the Win 1K a Day sweepstakes here on 580 WIBW. It's our final week of the Win 1K a Day sweepstakes. So hopefully somebody out there listening is going to be a winner this week. All you have to do to get registered to win each day is to text the hourly keywords to 785-272-9429. One hourly keyword is one entry. The more keywords you text in within the hour, the better your chances. The keyword for this 3 o'clock hour on this Monday is sweet. Sweet. S-W-E-E-T. Sweet. As in the Royals getting a sweep over the weekend was sweet. S-W-E-E-T. Text sweet to 785-272-9429. You have until 4 o'clock to text in that keyword and get yourself registered for a chance to win a grand. The Win 1K a Day sweepstakes on 580 WIBW. The Kansas City Chiefs selected over the weekend from starting Thursday and into Sunday. LSU cornerback Mansour Delane, Clemson defensive tackle Peter Woods, Oklahoma edge R. Mason Thomas in round 2. Defensive back out of Oregon, Jaden Kennedy in round 4. Nebraska running back Emmett Johnson and Cincinnati wide receiver Cyrus Allen with a pair of 5th-round picks. And LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier in the 7th round. And on an individual level, there is nothing to me that stands out that makes me say, I don't like that player. I think the Chiefs took football players with useful skill sets up and down. Clearly, the focus for Brett Veach and company was on the defensive side of the ball. Not only was that the focus, that is where the Chiefs felt the value was in this draft, to the extent that they moved up 3 slots in the first round to get Delane. Between Delane and Jaden Kennedy, you have fortified a secondary that needed some fortification, that was hit hard by the loss of Trent McDuffie in a trade and by the losses of Jalen Watson and Brian Cook in free agency. Peter Woods rounds out what all of a sudden looks like a very promising, strong group of defensive tackles, with the future Hall of Famer Chris Jones, the free agent addition Kairos Tonga, and young Omar Norman Lott entering year 2. The Chiefs should go into this next season feeling a lot better about their defensive tackles than they did last year, where they were having to scramble late and re-sign Derek Nottie after they had decided to let him go in the spring, and then felt like they were in a position where they had to bring him back, and they had to bring back Mike Pennell as soon as he got cut. That position was in a bad way last year. It should be in much better shape entering training camp this year. R. Mason Thomas got after the quarterback at Oklahoma over and over and over again. And that is a skill set that the Chiefs' edges are lacking. If Emmett Johnson can fill the third down running back role that the Chiefs have sorely missed last year, be the Jet McKinnon, Samaje Perine type of third down weapon in the backfield, that could be a solid 5th-round pick and complement Kenneth Walker and Amari DeMercado and Brashard Smith at the running back spot for the Chiefs. Cyrus Allen, stop me if you've heard this one before. Cyrus Allen, the new Chiefs wide receiver, is small, but he's good after the catch. Just like all of them. Just like everyone they've ever drafted. On the short side, but boy, get the ball in his hands and he can do some things after the catch. He is a very Kansas City Chiefs pick. And I'm fascinated by the draft pick of Garrett Nussmeier in round 7 and the thought of developing a serious prospect as a backup to Patrick Mahomes and having a long-term understudy for Mahomes. Not that Nussmeier's ever going to take the reins from Patrick Mahomes. In a perfect world, Patrick's got at least a decade more of good football ahead of him. But we've seen teams in the past develop young backup quarterbacks. Maybe they show out a little bit in a week 17 or 18 game when a playoff spot has been decided, or maybe they're really good in the preseason, and all of a sudden you can turn what was a 7th-round pick into something more valuable in a trade with a quarterback-needy team down the road. I'm interested in that potential for the Chiefs to be able to do that with Nussmeier, who is by far the best rookie quarterback that the Chiefs have brought into the room, while Mahomes has also been a part of it. So do I think the Chiefs had a bad draft? I do not. I do not. But do I think they had a draft worthy of doing backflips over? I don't. And that maybe sets me apart from a lot of national media who gave the Chiefs pretty roundly A grades, A- grades. I saw 1B out there. I might have been from Mel Kiper. Kiper's a tough grader. But mostly, the Chiefs got a lot of credit for the work they did in this year's draft. Lot of praise from the national media. I'm a little bit more bearish because I also think when you look at each player individually, there's a question mark that determines just how valuable the draft pick really is. Is Mansour Delane a player with an all-pro ceiling? Because he's going to have to be to justify not only being a top 10 pick at cornerback, but justify the draft capital that it cost to move up the 3 spots to get him. Because if he's just really good, that's nice, but that's a player you could have lived with at number 9. Or a player you could have not taken and taken Reuben Bain instead. Still think the Chiefs are going to regret that one. We'll see. We'll see who's right. We won't know for another 3 years, 4 years, perhaps. But Mansour Delane has to play like an all-pro. He has to be on the level of a Patrick Surtain or a Sauce Gardner or a Derek Stingley. If he is not that kind of player, then I don't know that he was worth the draft capital the Chiefs expended to get him. Peter Woods, I love the athleticism. The production did not match the traits in college. It is rare that that changes once you get a guy to the pros. It has happened, but it's rare. It's a big bet on player development. It's a big bet on scheme. It's a bet on coaching. R. Mason Thomas is such an antithetical pick to everything that a Chiefs edge rusher has been under Steve Spagnuolo that I wonder what his usage is going to look like. We know Spags got his kinds of guys in this draft. Mansour Delane, we heard Brett Veach say it when he did his post-first round press conference. Mansour Delane was probably Spags' favorite player in the entire draft. And Jaden Kennedy is a very Spagsy day 3 defensive back to the point where I won't be surprised if he gets on the field as a rookie. But R. Mason Thomas, an undersized tweener defensive end, is so not what the Chiefs have valued or pursued at edge that it makes me wonder, was Spags consulted on this pick? Or has Spags maybe gotten a little bit of religion about the idea of having an undersized pass rusher and the value of having someone who, okay, maybe they're not great at setting the edge on 1st and 10, but on 3rd and 10, you can run him out on the field and say, hey, see that guy with the ball? Go get him. And then he does it. That's the theory behind drafting R. Mason Thomas, is that he's going to give you some juice off the edge. But that's not a player. That's not a body type. That's not a prototype that the Chiefs have made a lot of use of. So what does that look like? Also, Emmett Johnson, 5th round pick. Use a 5th rounder on a running back after you sign 2 veterans. Interesting decision. Drafting a wide receiver in Cyrus Allen, who's just like all of your other wide receivers. That's another interesting decision to me. So you can nitpick this draft a little bit. And you've got a lot of ifs and maybes with your first 3 picks in particular. If Delane is an all-pro, if Peter Woods is immediately disruptive and plays up to his athleticism, if R. Mason Thomas is utilized in such a way to get the most out of his pass rush ability, then the Chiefs could come out of this draft looking really good. And there's a scenario, there is, where in 3-4 years, we're talking about this 2026 draft class in much the same way that we talk about the 2022 draft class. It is not a difficult scenario to picture for each individual player in a vacuum, that Mansour Delane could get to all-pro level and could do so in short order in Spags' scheme, and offers the shutdown ability on one side of the field that Trent McDuffie, for all of his talents and all of his abilities, was never really able to offer. There's a scenario where Peter Woods and R. Mason Thomas re-energize what has become a stagnant and unproductive Chiefs pass rush over the last 2 seasons. There's a scenario where Jaden Kennedy, who I really like a lot, proves to be the nickel safety demon hybrid player that Steve Spagnuolo has craved and that Shamari Connor really isn't quite a fit as. We've seen that Connor has strengths as a player, but playing in the slot, not one of them. Now the Chiefs have a lot more options in the slot. Mansour Delane pushes every corner down the depth chart, and now Kennedy's got the potential to be that kind of a pick in the 4th round. And perhaps Emmett Johnson rounds out the running back room with a complementary skill set to both Walker and DeMercado. But that's a lot of if, right? That's a lot of if. That's all the best case scenario, right? And it's hard to imagine every single best case scenario, locking in for the Kansas City Chiefs, which is why I hate this draft. I'm not being a Debbie Downer about this collection of players. It's hard to quibble with the picks as much as it's much easier, rather, to quibble about the process, about the opportunity cost that we talked about on Friday of moving up and trading that third round pick to only to get a corner in the with the sixth pick when two other significant positions of need could have been filled by simply waiting at number 9. But there is also a lot of ceiling for this draft. In particular, those first 4 picks on the defensive side. There is ceiling there. And the Chiefs are betting on internal development, betting on coaching, and I think betting on these guys being good right away, too. Time will tell. That's why it's so foolish to sometimes go through and say, oh, yeah, that draft, yeah, on paper, that's an A-. Everybody gets an A-, man. Everybody, you know how bad you have to draft to get a grade that's not a B? You either have to have no first-round pick or you have to be the Jacksonville Jaguars to end up with a grade that is less than a B or a B+. It's hard for people to look at a draft and say, yeah, I didn't like anything about that. There is much to like, I think, about this Chiefs draft class, but a lot of its success is going to be contingent on Steve Spagnuolo coaching them up. Not a bad bet to make, but a bet all the same. Want to hear what you think? 785-272-9429 is the text line number. You can also interact in the live chat on our YouTube stream. We're going to hear from some of you after this first time out. Matt Verderam, our NFL insider from Sports Illustrated, is going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. We'll get his take as well. Got some Royals, got some college basketball transfer portal, and a lot more NFL draft to talk about. We are just getting started on this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. .331 on 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Glad to be hanging out with you after the weekend on this Monday edition of the program. With you until 6 tonight. No Royals baseball. Off day for the boys in blue after that sweep of the Angels. Talking NFL draft on the program. What your thoughts on how the Chiefs came out? One text from the 785. It'll be nice if the coaches actually play the rookies, unlike last year. Well, bit of a different scenario for this crop of rookies as opposed to last year's crop of rookies, which, like Josh Simmons, played quite a bit. Ashton Gelati played quite a bit. Omar Norman Lott was looking like he was going to play quite a bit. Then he blew out his knee. But at the same time, it's a lot tougher to crack the rotation for a team that went 15-2 and won the conference championship than it is to crack the rotation of a roster that went 6-11, right? So already the composition of the roster tells you there are going to be ample opportunities for this rookie class. Like Delane nailed on day one starter, just like Trent McDuffie was. We'll see about Woods and Thomas as far as a percentage of snaps, but it's also very clear here with regards to the additions on the defensive line specifically. And we talked about this with Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider, and I think this is a broader league-wide trend because, you know, the NFL, they always say it's a copycat league. We have seen now the last two Super Bowl champions, Eagles 2 years ago, Seahawks last year. Neither of those teams had a superstar edge rusher or quarterback sack guy, right? Wasn't anybody on those teams with like 18 sacks. Not like a prime Michael Strahan or Nick Bosa or Von Miller. Like there's not that one guy leading the line. But there were a bunch of guys that rotated in and brought juice and brought different skill sets and collectively impacted the quarterback. Collectively had impressive sack numbers as a group, even if you have one guy with like 15 and a half, 16 and a half, 19 sacks, right? Feels like that is what the Chiefs are trying to build. And look, it's a lot easier to build. It's sort of like in baseball where it's easier to build a rotation with a bunch of number 3 caliber starters than it is to go find and pay an ace, a true ace or a true 1-2 punch at the top of a rotation. Easier to get a bunch of guys who you know are going to give you 6 quality innings each time. That's kind of what it feels like the Chiefs are looking for. They're looking for 6 good inning type of pass rushers. Guys who may not be on their own double-digit sack guys, but guys who can, in a rotation, have some juice, have some burst, have some ability to impact the quarterback. And again, in theory, I like that a lot. In practice, what's Spags going to make of a tweener like R. Mason Thomas? I don't know. I got to see that in application before I know whether or not I really like that pick. But thank you for the text. Looking for some other thoughts on the draft as well. Andrew continues to say on the live chat, the Chiefs could have waited. I didn't like they trade up for Delane. They could have waited. They could have gotten Caleb Downs, who he felt was the best defensive player in the draft. Downs would have been fascinating in Spags' defense as a chess piece in the Spags defense. No question about that. That would have been very interesting to have watched unfold. But Chiefs secondary or the safety room next year sounds like it's going to be Alohi Gilman, Shamari Connor, and Jaden Kennedy. And I'll tell you who got a vote of no confidence with the pick of Kennedy in the 4th round. Jaden Hicks. Jaden Hicks, better learn special teams. He looks like safety number 4 right now in the Chiefs room. And that could just be me. I maybe I'm too high on Kennedy. Not to spoil anything, I think he might have been my favorite Chiefs pick in the entire draft. Just because he is absolutely a Spags guy. The kind of guy who thrives in a Spags defense. Where, like, I don't know if Peter Woods is. And I really don't know if R. Mason Thomas is. We'll take a time out here on 580 Sports Talk. On the other side of this break, we'll be joined by our NFL insider, Matt Verderam from Sports Illustrated and SI.com. We'll get his takes on the 2026 NFL Draft after this on 580 WIBW. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk by our NFL insider, Matt Verderam, who covers the league for Sports Illustrated at SI.com. Also appears on That Football Show on the KC Sports Network and has his own subscriber-only Patreon, The Matt Verderam Show. Matt, what was your initial reaction to the Chiefs moving up to number 6 and drafting Mansour Delane, the cornerback out of LSU?
Honestly, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, I thought Delane was one of the top 5 players in the draft. Going into the draft for Sports Illustrated, I was going to be grading every one of the picks in the first 3 rounds, kind of instant analysis. And so half of each of the grades was kind of, here's who the player is, and then it was, here's how he fits with the team that just stuck him. And so I pre-wrote all the, here's who the player is parts of it, because otherwise it would have been going insane. And with Delane, I don't have it right in front of me, but basically wrote, look, the guy doesn't have a weakness. He's physical. He's got good size. He can run. He can play any kind of coverage you want to play. He's got IQ off the charts. He's got no red flags off the field. Like, listen, when they initially traded up to 6, I thought maybe it would be Bain, and I thought if it wasn't going to be Bain, it was going to be Delane. I have no problem with it. Like, certainly you could argue, hey, pass rusher there, but they talked pretty openly, even pre-draft, that they thought edge rusher was really deep. And I think their thought process was, if we don't get the corner here, there's a much bigger drop-off from Delane to who we're going to get than there is from potentially Bain to an R. Mason Thomas, as it were. So, look, I think it's a home run of a pick. I really do. I would be shocked if he's not a really good player.
What is does he have the kind of ceiling that we have seen from other top 10 cornerback picks in recent years? Guys like Jalen Ramsey. I mean, Patrick Surtain was Defensive Player of the Year. Derek Stingley. Right. Do you think his ceiling is on the same level of those players?
Yes. Before the Chiefs picked him, in that blurb that I wrote, I think the last sentence was, I think he could be an all-pro this year. Like, I think he's really genuinely that level of player. I mean, and it's funny, a lot of times you look at hit rates and bust rates. It's like, okay, this position, the first round, the top 10. If you look at corners over the last decade who are picked in the top 10, they're almost all fantastic. Like, there's nobody who you look at and go, that guy was terrible. They're really good. I mean, you just mentioned a bunch of them. J.C. Horn's another guy like that. Sauce Gardner is another one. If you take a corner that high, the overwhelming historical odds are that guy's going to be really good. Listen, it's a defense where he's going to have to learn a lot, because they do a lot. They're going to ask him, I'm sure, to move all over the place and play different areas of the field. But, listen, when you've lost McDuffie and you've lost Watson, I know they brought in Cohu, and that's fine. And then they obviously brought in Kennedy in the 4th round, who also plays inside. But you need somebody who, when you're playing Jamar Chase, you're playing now Jalen Waddle, you're playing, name the big-time, receiver that you've got to face, the Nico Collins. Who's the guy? Who's the guy who's going to line up and man up and shut that guy down? And Delane, at least in theory, is that guy. He's the guy who you would ask to do that.
Peter Woods and R. Mason Thomas were the next 2 selections by the Chiefs as they look to add depth to their defensive line and juice their pass rush. I really like the Woods pick. I had more questions about the pick of R. Mason Thomas because he's a tweener in a defense that hasn't really made use of guys who are tweeners. What do you think is the best case scenario outcome as far as usage and what R. Mason Thomas can bring to a defensive line where players like him really haven't found much of a home? Spags, preferring those edge setting, bigger 3-down defensive ends over the specialists.
I think it's really interesting that they drafted R. Mason Thomas. To your point, I mean, they have either, when they've drafted or they've brought in edge rushers, they have always been bigger guys. Karlaftis is 265. Frank Clark was over 270. They bring in big, play the run, set the edge, bull rush your way through a guy with some effort or some power type at the end. R. Mason Thomas is 240 pounds. Like, he is your prototypical, hey man, get the corner, turn and burn, and just beat this guy to a spot. And that's something that they just do not usually go after. So I was very surprised they did it. I'll be honest, though. I like that they did it. Like, they have just had a blind spot with that area for years where they won't do it. And look, Steve Spagnuolo is one of the greatest defensive coordinators ever. I mean, that's not an exaggeration. But I think everybody has certain types, and they maybe sometimes fall in love with a certain thing about a player. Okay, this is what is kind of a through line, if you will, for all these guys over the years. I think that pick tells you that they know they have to evolve a little bit here. Like, they just can't continue to have the same players at the same spots year after year. I mean, sure, that works if the guy's a Hall of Famer. Like, if you just draft a guy who's just going to bull rush his way to 150 sacks, I'm like, yeah, great. But you do need a little bit of variety. It gives them that. Now, listen, this whole draft was kind of like that. I mean, they drafted every guy that they drafted at short arms, every single one of them. That is normally something that they are like, that is like a Bible for them. Like, we are not going to take short arm guys. They took everybody with short arms. So it was just a very interesting departure for a team that has done things a certain way for a very long time.
Matt Verderame is our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Covers the league for Sports Illustrated, SI.com, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. Which of the Chiefs' 4 day 3 picks was your favorite, and why?
So I would say Kennedy, I think, is the most intriguing from the standpoint that, listen, they did bring in Cohu, as I mentioned earlier. They're both nickel slot corners. But Kennedy's a guy who he fits what they have done in the past, like a very feisty, aggressive slot corner. They like guys who are willing to kind of get up, be physical early on in routes. He can do that even though he doesn't have great size. He's very good at closing on the ball and the ball's in the air. So in that regard, like, of the 4 guys that I think he's probably the one who's got the most immediate upside. But I think the answer for me is actually Emmett Johnson, the running back they took out of Nebraska. Like, that guy can play. Like, if you watch Emmett Johnson play football, he is a good football player. And I know people in the league that thought he was the best running back in this class that didn't go to Notre Dame. Okay, that obviously you had Love, and then you had Jadarian Price, who ended up going with the last pick of the first round. There are a lot of people who thought that Emmett Johnson was RB3. And he ends up going all the way to the 5th. Chiefs even moved up a little bit. I think they moved up like 8 spots to take him. Listen, you have Kenneth Walker. I mean, they're not all of a sudden going to go to this like 2-back system. And they brought in DeMarcado. But I think the one thing with Johnson that stands out, 85 receptions over the last 2 years. He can catch the ball. I could see him having that McKinnon role where they're like, look, 3rd down, Walker, yeah, he can catch the ball, but let's try to keep him fresh. Let's put him in. Let DeMarcado kind of spell Walker here and there, 1st and 2nd down when they want to give him a little bit of a break. So it's funny, that room has been so bad the last couple of years, unless it's Kareem Hunt on like 3rd and 1. And now you look at that room, they got a lot. Like, that room, they could do a whole bunch of stuff. So I really like that pick. I thought it was very interesting.
Always hard to evaluate drafts. The draft grade process can be quixotic, certainly. And obviously, the more draft capital you have, the higher you pick, the better your draft grade is going to be. But with all that said, who did you walk away from the draft feeling like checked all of the boxes in a way that could make them a lot better right away?
Okay, so I never say this about this team, but they earned it. I thought the Jets had a great draft. Like, the Jets normally are a team that when I bring them up, it's not good.
No.
But I thought they had a great draft. I thought the Giants, to stay in New York, had a great draft. By the way, I think the Giants are going to make the playoffs this year if Dart stays healthy. So, like, I like their draft a lot. I think they could be able. The Jets, I don't think can do that, but I think that draft proved them and got them ready for if they get a quarterback this year. I loved what Tennessee did. I like bringing in Tate. I like Hill in the 2nd round. I think Falk's an interesting guy, and I think Salah's the right guy to coach. He's 21. Bring all that talent out of him. I thought Cleveland had another good draft. They had a good draft last year. I thought they had a good draft this year. There were a couple picks toward the end I didn't really like. Like, they took the quarterback in the 6th round, but that's okay. I'll live with that. They got Concepcion. They got Boston. Fine. I thought Tampa did well. I thought Tampa had a good draft. I mean, we already talked about them, so I'm kind of skipping over. I thought the Chiefs had a really good draft. Like when I did my grades, I gave the Chiefs an A, which is the first time in years I've given the Chiefs an A in a draft. I thought their draft was top 5 in the NFL. I really did. But I thought all those teams. I thought all those teams did really well, and then of course on the flip side, some other teams are like, what is happening? But I thought those teams did very well for themselves.
A couple more questions for Matt Verderam, our NFL insider here on 580 Sports Talk. Yeah, what to you was the biggest head scratcher of this draft? If it was an individual pick, if it was a run of picks, if it was one team and their draft strategy, what was the thing that you had you walking away shaking your head or scratching your head the most?
I hate saying it because I like a lot of people in the building. I don't know what Jacksonville is doing. That draft was like, if they end up having a really good draft, like we look back in 3 or 4 years, like, man, they killed it. They can laugh in everybody's face. I don't know one single person who thinks they had a good draft. They reached in the second round for a tight end who can't catch, who all he does is block. Like, as Gladstone said in the presser that he did after that, like, yeah, sure, that's a trend right now, but that doesn't mean you take that guy 50th overall. Like, that to me was just shocking. They had a couple of picks at the end of day 3, and I mean, like, reasonably toward the end, not even totally toward the end, like ended round 6. That ESPN didn't have graphics packages for the guys. Like NFL.com didn't have profiles for them. Like nobody was like, who? Like who'd they take? I will say, and I know there's been a split opinion on this draft. I hated what Buffalo did, and maybe it works out. Maybe Buffalo, I end up looking like the fool, and that's fine. And it's not so much to be clear. It's not that only the players. Like, they drafted Skylar Bell out of UConn, slot receiver. I really like him. I like TJ Parker out of Clemson as an edge. I thought the Chiefs might take him if he went to 40. I like those players. I have no idea how they fit in Buffalo. Bell does what Shakir does. So I don't know how he's getting on the field. He's not a boundary receiver. Parker is a 265-pound edge rusher who's playing in a 3-4. He doesn't really stand up. He doesn't fit as a down-in-the-dirt guy at 3-4. They took a corner in Igbinosun who took 30 penalties over the last 2 years. Like, it was a weird class. Like, I don't know which one of those guys helps them win next year. I have no idea if anybody helps them win next year.
I was startled to see how early we started to see some of the quarterbacks come off the board. It started with Ty Simpson at 13, which I thought was ludicrous. And it got stranger from there in day 2 and even into day 3 to the point where Garrett Nussmeier in the 7th round by the Chiefs looked like one of the best quarterback draft picks in the entire draft. Yeah. What did you make of how that shook out? And what do you think of the Chiefs ending up with Nussmeier there in the 7th?
Well, to start with Nussmeier, listen, this sounds bizarre because he went so late. There were people going into the season that thought he was going to be a top 10 pick in the draft. And then he had a cyst on his spine, which has since been removed, but apparently that caused a lot of pain. It caused problems, and he had a bad year. So if you're the Chiefs, I know there are fans because I've had some say to me, like, well, why would they take a quarterback? It's a waste of pick. Listen, you got to develop somebody behind Mahomes just to have a backup. I mean, obviously that guy's not going to replace Patrick Mahomes, but instead of going out and spending draft capital like they had to on Fields this year or real money on backup, but now they can just take a guy who's cheap as can be for the next 4 years. And if he's good, then you're great. You're golden. And maybe you start him in some Week 18 game. He plays great and you get a pick. The quarterback stuff, I'm with you. Look, the Mendoza thing aside, because everybody knew in the world is going there. Simpson at 13 is insane. You're trying to win a Super Bowl right now, and you're drafting Ty Simpson. Like, I get that if he was an unbelievable prospect who fell and you were like, look, we just have to take this kid. Okay, fine. He's not. Carson Beck, the first pick of the 3rd round, was absolutely bonkers. Like, you have 800 needs. You're the Cardinals, and your thought process was, let's take this guy. I don't get it. And the pick I gave, the only F- I gave the whole day was Drew Aller to Pittsburgh. Why? You have Will Howard. You're going to have 800-year-old Aaron Rodgers back this year. We all know he's going to play. Like I don't get. Again, that's not a throw. If you're drafting a quarterback, you should either take him really early or really late. Like, take a flyer on one really late, or take a guy who you think is the franchise really early. I never understand why these teams feel the need at 90th overall to take like, at that point, you're not getting anyone who's good barring a miracle. Like, you're just not. So, like, it's way too early to take a flyer, but you're not going to get someone who's going to drive the bus. So, like, Drew Aller, what is the ceiling? That he's Mason Rudolph? Like, I don't, like, what is the vision with that? I never understand teams that take quarterbacks in third, fourth rounds.
There's a grade lower than F-. I think I would have given it to that pick. Matt Verderame graded all of those first 3-round picks over at SI.com, Sports Illustrated. That's where he covers the league. You can also hear him on the KC Sports Network, That Football Show, and his own subscriber-only Patreon, the Matt Verderame Show, and every Monday at this time on 580 Sports Talk. Matt, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
That is Matt Verderame. We'll step aside, come back with the good, the bad, the ugly from the weekend to wrap up hour number 1 of 580 Sports Talk. The good, the bad, and the ugly from the weekend to wrap up this 3 o'clock hour on 580 Sports Talk. There was a lot of good, personally and in the world of sports. A lot of good. Hard to choose, to be honest with you. I had personally an enjoyable weekend. Son went to his first wedding on Saturday, and we survived. That was good. But I'll say this. The coolest thing I saw in the draft all weekend, the Atlanta Falcons drafting Avion Terrell, the defensive back out of Clemson, who I really liked. I thought the Chiefs would have done well to take at 29. Avion Terrell's older brother is A.J. Terrell, who plays for the Falcons. So they drafted the younger brother to play with his older brother, who there's a difference of 6 years. And they were, obviously, A.J. was at his little brother's draft party. And their embrace when Avion found out that he was going to be getting to play with his big brother. And then when they all both hugged their parents and their family members, that was awesome. That was my favorite part. You always get some great reactions, some really emotional reactions during the draft. And I'll say that was my good from the weekend. My bad was how the umpires handled the rain delay in the Royals game yesterday, delaying the game while the Royals were rallying in the 7th inning. I thought that stunk. Matt Quatrero was obviously not much of a fan of that. Thankfully, all's well that ends well. Royals end up winning the game. More about the Royals coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, but did not like the way that was handled. And the ugly was all these quarterbacks, college football quarterbacks that stink, getting drafted on day 2 of the draft and early day 3. Made no sense to me. How does Drew Aller have a job? Fries in the bag, Drew Aller. Are you kidding me? Like, unbelievable. I guess I don't watch college football, I guess. We're talking Royals, more NFL draft, and what is wrong with you? That's coming up 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2 of 580 Sports Talk on a Monday afternoon. Thank you so much for hanging out today here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. I am Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis off today. Brendan Dorzinski is going to pop his head in for What Is Wrong With You later on this hour. You got a lot more to come on the show with you for 2 more hours until 6 o'clock. No Royals baseball tonight. Travel day for the boys in blue as they head west. 6-game road trip coming up. 3 in Sacramento against the Athletics. West Sacramento against the Athletics. 3 in Seattle against the Mariners. When the plane took off, the Royals were on a winning streak. Haven't had many of those this season, but they're on a 3-game winning streak after a sweep of the Angels. We'll talk a little bit about that and what must happen for the winning ways to continue for a team that, for all the doom and gloom, for all the hand-wringing, for all the frustration, Royals are only 3.5 games out of first place in the American League Central. If I'd told you that on a month ago, let's say a month ago when the season began, because March 27th was the opener. Today is April 27th. If I'd said Royals will be 3.5 games out of first place on April 27th, you'd have said, "Oh, that's not ideal, but that's not the end of the world." And yeah, just hasn't been much fun getting there. And the record's still not pretty, but nobody playing well enough in the Central to run away with it. So lots of baseball still to be played. So we'll talk some baseball this hour. We'll also have a little bit more NFL draft reaction. I'd love to hear from you on the text line, 785-272-9429. Also in the live chat on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. Who is your favorite pick that the Chiefs made? What do you make of the Chiefs draft class? What other draft picks did you like? Did you not like? Who do you think came out with a good draft? Who do you think came out with a poor draft? Anything else you want to talk draft related? We'll milk it for all it's worth on this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Oh, yeah, keyword for this hour for the Win 1K a Day sweepstakes. Got the 4 o'clock keyword for this Monday, which means you have until now or from now until the end of this 4 o'clock Central Time hour to text the keyword to 785-272-9429. And by texting the keyword, you become eligible. You get registered for your chance to win $1,000 today from 580 WIBW. This hour's keyword is clear. Clear. C-L-E-A-R. Clear is the keyword. Text clear. Just that word. Don't put a period at the end of it. Mind your autocorrect and your fat fingers. I'm not judging. I've got fat fingers too. We've all mistyped. We've all been there, but usually when we mistype, it doesn't cost us a chance to win $1,000. So clean keystrokes, clear is the word this hour. Text clear to 785-272-9429. And you will become registered for your chance to win $1,000 this hour here on 580 Sports Talk. It was a fun weekend of Royals baseball, wasn't it? And boy, it's been a while since we could say that, right? That was a fun weekend of Kansas City Royals baseball. A routine win on Saturday night, 12-1. Yesterday, oh boy, it didn't feel good right away, did it? And 2 batters in, already down 2-0. 2 innings in, down 6-0. I didn't think Seth Lugo was terrible, but he sure gave up a lot of hits. And Matt Quatraro said after the game, wasn't a lot of hard contact. Obviously, the home run by Mike Trout accepted, and Adam Frazier gave his RBI double a ride. But of the 15 hits that Seth Lugo allowed in 6 1/3 innings, there were a lot of them that were off the end of the bat. There were a lot of not quite Texas League pop-ups that dropped, but a lot of end-of-the-bat contact that just floated over the shortstop or just snuck down the line perfectly placed. to wind up being extra bases. If there's one real quibble that where Lugo really hurt himself yesterday, and let's be honest, he came into that game with an ERA of 1.15, probably due for a stinker, and he certainly had himself one. Didn't put guys away with 2 strikes in a way that you've got to be able to do. Just wasn't quite as sharp with 2 strikes. A little too good. A lot of his pitches were in that spot where you can get enough of the fat part of the bat on them, and those turn into, line drive flare hits and not, weak pop-ups or weak ground balls. Just sometimes you can throw too many strikes. And Seth Lugo, who throws a lot of strikes, he probably threw a few too many in the strike zone yesterday. He was not good, and the Royals very nearly paid a price. They were down 6-0. They rallied to get to within 6-3. Then they rallied to get within 7-5. Then it was 8-5 with 2 out, nobody on in the 9th. And I forgive you if you turned it off, because Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez were coming up, and both know how mightily those 2 have struggled. But Pasquantino tripled down the corner. Salvi brought him home with a seeing eye single up the middle. And Jack Caglione with his first signature home run as a Kansas City Royal, deep down the right field line, curling around the foul pole off of Drew Pomeranz. That was a good pitch. And that's a really tough pitch for a left-hander to hit out of the ballpark against a left-hander. When you talk about the rare talent that a guy like Caglione has, you're not just talking about his ability to hit the ball far, because a lot of guys hit the ball far. A lot of guys are strong, hit the ball a long way. It's being able to hit good pitches a long way. Being able to pull your hands in on 92, dotted to the upper inner corner of the strike zone, and pull that out of the ballpark with authority. That's rare ability right there that Jack Caglione displayed in tying the game in the 9th. Royals give up a run on a pass ball in the 10th. Rough night for Carter Jensen behind the plate, but in fairness to him, it was a long day, and goodness knows he had to change the alarm on his phone after the game time got moved up. So I'm sure it was all just kind of a blur for the young catcher yesterday. But then Lane Thomas played the hero. Lane Thomas, of all people, with the walk-off 3-run home run. I love, if you didn't hear Ryan Lefever's call on the Royals Baseball Network, the whole conversation during the at-bat is that Thomas has the significant platoon advantage against the left-handed reliever, but you'd rather pitch to Thomas with a lefty, even with a lefty, than pitch to Bobby Witt Jr. with the game-winning run in scoring position. Thomas is the guy you have to get out. And Joey Lucchesi made a very bad 3-1 pitch, and Lane Thomas hit it into the seats to set off the celebration and the victory. Lane Thomas against lefties, 33 plate appearances so far, 269 batting average, 424 on base, 423 slug. The home run helped. That is a player that so far is doing what the label suggested he would do. He is hitting left-handed pitching. That's why he's here. He's been really bad against right-handed pitching. It's dragged down his season numbers. But Lane Thomas is on the Royals to offer an alternative against left-handed pitching, particularly left-handed starters, and that is what he has done well to this point. Give him credit. And give Jack Caglione credit. His batting line so far this year, he's hitting 263, but the on-base is 344. The slug is 425, which is lower than what you'd expect for him, but the ball hasn't even started flying at the K yet. The at-bats are good. The process is good. The results on the batted ball side and on the on-base side, the not making outs part of the equation, Jack Caglione's rounding into form. It's starting to come together for the former first-round pick in a real exciting way. And there are a lot of exciting things happening really up and down the Royals lineup. Bobby Witt Jr. finally has a home run. That's going to help the next one come a lot easier because players do. I talk about this all the time. That scoreboard out there in center field at Kauffman Stadium is really big. All of the stadiums in Major League Baseball, even Wrigley Field these days, big old scoreboards. And you can't help but look up at the scoreboards now and then. You can't help but do it, even when you're playing in the game. And you can't help but look up sometimes and see, oh, man, my batting average starts with a 1. Oh, man, I don't have any home runs, and it's almost May, and I'm a power guy. I've hit 30 in a year before, and I got none. It weighs on guys. It affects guys. It does. They'll tell you themselves that can affect you. Well, Bobby's off the schneid, hit one through the rain to cut it to 7-5 in last night's game. So that's good to see from Bobby Witt Jr., who, other than the lack of power, is hitting, or home run power anyway, because he's contributing with extra base hits, leads the team in doubles. Other than the lack of home run over the fence power, he is playing exactly the way you would expect Bobby Witt Jr. to play. He's been the 4th most valuable player, according to Baseball Reference's WAR calculation, in the American League. He's been every bit of Bobby Witt Jr. so far. Isaac Collins starting to find his groove. He had 3 multi-hit games during the homestand, including one yesterday. A couple of hits, including a home run. And even though the overarching season-long numbers still do not look pretty up on those big scoreboards, it does feel like Vinny Pasquantino's on the cusp. Hit his first home run of the season over the weekend. Had the triple with 2 out, nobody on to start that 9th inning rally. Feels like Vinny's close. I think he's seeing the ball better. The swings are a little better. The contact's been better. Feels like he's on the cusp. Lots of good things happening for the offense this past week. They scored 5+ runs in all 6 games. They batted .309 as a team with a .396 on base and a .536 slug over the course of that 6-game homestand. And I know they lost the series to Baltimore, but turning around and sweeping the Angels gives you a 4-2 homestand. And that makes it feel like you're starting to get your bearings and maybe peel yourself off the mat after that 0-6 road trip flattened the Royals the week prior. And now what stands ahead of the Royals? 6 games on the road with a couple of middling ball clubs, Sacramento and Seattle. The A's are in first place in the American League West because by rule somebody has to be. But they're 15-13. Seattle, I believe, is 14-13, half a game back. Neither team lighting the world on fire to start the season. But the Royals haven't really produced away from Kauffman Stadium yet this season. It's a fair thing to note. Isaac Collins doesn't have a hit on the road yet this year. I believe the number, the total for the Royals this year is 30 runs in their first 12 road games. So less than 3 runs per game in their first 4 road series this year. But also, the version of the team playing in those games, they weren't hitting anywhere. They didn't have anything to do with the ballpark. It's just they weren't hitting anywhere off of anybody. And they are a team now that's going to take some confidence with them on the road to a hitter-friendly environment. Sacramento's ballpark was a AAA ballpark, the Pacific Coast League ballpark. Very offense-friendly place to go and hit. Snug dimensions. Royals hit very well there, I believe, to round out last season. Many of you had probably tuned out the Royals a little bit when they went and played in Sacramento last year, because I think it was the last series of the season. The last road series of the season, I'm pretty sure. It might have been the last series total. Because I don't remember watching, now I was pretty into football at that point, I don't remember watching any of the Royals games at that ballpark. And maybe y'all missed them too. But very friendly place to hit. Also permissive, the A's pitching staff. Not one of the best in the American League. So a chance to take some offensive confidence. And you could sense that's what this team was lacking, because it felt after that win on Sunday like some of those good vibes that we thought this team was going to take out of spring training had returned. You had Vinny and Jack doing the Paisan celebration, the cheek kisses after Caglianone's game-tying home run in the 9th inning. Obviously, the elation and the excitement after Lane Thomas's walk-off. Felt like a team with some energy back, with some confidence back. But that's only as good as how you come out and play here on the road. At the very least, the Royals have to find themselves treading water on this road trip. But if they can put together another couple of series wins, claw their way that much closer to 500, you can see a way out of the ditch that the Royals have dug. They're a long way from being out of it, but the way they swung the bats over the last week allowed you to see a little daylight. Because the biggest thing that was holding this team back through their 8-17 start was their inability to score runs. And then they scored more than 5 in each game of this last homestand. And again, look, not like they were facing the mid-90s Braves, right? We can be honest about the Angels do not have a particularly good pitching staff, though it was nice to see Seaman High School graduate Topeka Ryan Zefferjohn put forth a couple of scoreless outings. That was kind of the ideal outcome for folks who maybe came from Topeka to watch the former Seaman Viking and Kansas Jayhawk, right? He pitched well, and the Angels lost all the games. So yeah, it was an ideal outcome from that perspective. But the Angels pitching staff as a whole, not spectacular. Nothing to write home about. The Orioles pitching staff before that, that's not an established bullpen, not a great pitching staff. So yes, those are the kinds of teams you would have liked to have seen the Royals do damage against. But that does not mitigate the fact that they did, in fact, do that. They took care of some business, and I think took out some early season frustration on the kind of teams that you're supposed to be. Now, they don't hang banners for sweeping the Angels in April. Flags don't fly because you're only 6 games below 500 instead of the 9 games below 500 you were before. But the season is 162 games. And if you're going to turn the ship around, you have to start it somewhere. You have to start it somewhere. And Andrew makes the point in the YouTube chat. You have to prove that you can beat teams that are playoff caliber teams. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Royals will be tested over the weekend, due respect to the currently in first place Sacramento Athletics. Seattle's had a slow start to their year too, but that's a team a lot of people predicted could go to the World Series this year in the American League. That's going to be a truer test. It's on the road. That's a really good starting pitching rotation. I'm not sure exactly who they line up to see, but you can count on they're going to see at least 2 guys that are pretty good, if not 3. But this thing had to start somewhere, and something had to restore a little bit of that confidence for this club. And I think they've done that. I think they were able to do that over the weekend. We'll see if they can't take it out on the road. Question from the 785, and I like this from the 785. Can the Royals stop platooning Jack Caglione now? You get better by doing, not watching. Could not agree more with you. I understand, like, super tough lefties. Like, you don't want to start Jack Caglione against Chris Sale. I get it. You want to give him the day off against Tarek Skubal. Fine. But there's no reason he should be an auto bench against a left-handed starting pitcher. I really don't think that the Royals are going to get better, short-term or long-term, by giving Starling Marte at bats that should be going to Jack Caglione. I could not agree more with the sentiment that we need to see more of Cags against lefties. And you know what? Maybe he can't do it, but I'll tell you this, he's slugging .455 against lefties so far this year and only slugging .414 against righties. So he can get to the power against lefties. So I don't care if he hits .220 against left-handers. If he can get to the power, that's still valuable. Because you know what Starling Marte's not doing? Hitting for power. Or for much of anything else, for that matter. So yes, agree 100%. Texter from the 785, great point. Time to stop with the auto bench of Jack Caglione against the left-handers and get him out there every single day. Because right now, I could make the case he's probably the Royals' 3rd best hitter as it currently stands behind Bobby Witt Jr. and Carter Jensen. And that's a guy who's got to be in the lineup every day. We'll take a break here on 580 Sports Talk. We'll come back with What Is Wrong With You. It's a short week, so we're actually crowning a short week champion today on What Is Wrong With You here on 580 Sports Talk. So what is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk? 2 new stories competing today, and one of them is going to advance to tomorrow's What is Wrong with You April semifinals. And to help out with What is Wrong with You today, Brendan Dworzinski's in studio. What's up, man?
Hey, wow. Look at all my friends right over here, just off camera.
Just off camera, laughing too.
Thrilled that I'm here. No, good to see you, man.
Yeah, glad to have you. Glad to have you in here for What is Wrong with You. We've got 2 stories today.
What's wrong with me? Oh, it's a segment. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is the name of the segment. We still do this. Yeah,
Okay.
in the middle of 4 o'clock hour every day.
I was gonna say
People
Jeez.
like this more than they like our sports takes. You remember the thing. You remember
yeah, I remember that part.
You remember the thing that we do.
Oh, yeah.
All right. How about you go first today, BD? What do you got?
All right, so we're going to meet a Florida pastor. His name is Leslie Williams. Okay, so Mr. Williams recently, in fact, about 9 years ago now. Yikes. 2017, wrote a book called Love Her Like This. Loving Her Has Never Been Deeper. Get your mind out of the gutter, first of all. But the guide, as it's described in his book, speaks directly to the hearts of men, sharing the deep intent of the type of love a man should have for his wife, and aims to deal with common issues that arise in a marriage that have potential to destroy the sacred relationship between husband and wife. That sounds like a good thing in principle, right?
Sure,
you know how the important bond between man and woman. Now, unfortunately, one of those things that could break that bond is marrying someone else while you are currently married. That is why Mr. Williams was arrested recently in the state of Florida. He posted on his Facebook that he has a new wife. He is now married. Come meet Cindy, the new Mrs. Williams. Praise God. She has been saved. Wonderful. Lovely. Unfortunately, he is currently married to someone else as well. That's illegal in every state in the union. And he is now facing bigamy charges.
Well, look, if I'm going to read a book about marriage advice, I want to know that somebody is an expert. And who could possibly be more an expert on navigating the minefield of marriage than someone who is doing it twice at the same time?
He's getting those reps in, man.
Yes, he's getting reps. Exactly. He's staying late for extra reps.
This is this is not the Ty Simpson of marriage. He's got plenty of experience. I feel like if you have to ask, hey, are you already married to the person you're about to marry? That was maybe not right for you.
Yeah, never a thing that occurred to me to ask anybody I ever dated. Like, hey, you're not already married, right? Like, that ring on your finger, what is that about?
Yeah, man, it's please read my book about marriage and how to strengthen your marriage. I've strengthened it with multiple women.
Yeah, yes. I'm so good at this marriage thing. I got 2 of them going on.
2 for the price of 1.
All right. For my story today, we're going to Homestead, Florida, where the police is addressing a concerning video circulating online that appears to show one of its officers in a marked patrol car allegedly racing another driver. Police say the clip shows a red sports car and a marked police vehicle stopped at a traffic light. The driver of the sports car recorded the interaction using a camera mounted on the back of his vehicle. In the video, there appears to be a brief verbal exchange between the driver and officer. The driver claimed the officer asked if I want to run it, suggesting a race. The driver wrote in the caption that they initially thought the officer was joking, but then the patrol car sped off. The sports car attempted to follow, but could not keep up. So,
I'm sorry. Oh, hold on here. It's a crime for the police officer to be cool as hell?
to have bitchin' wheels? Yeah, I guess. Homestead police say Internal Affairs is now investigating the incident, including who was behind the wheel of the patrol car. There are no details as yet as to whether the officer or the driver of the other car has been identified. Man, imagine getting challenged for slips by a police car. You get smoked.
And getting dusted, too.
Absolutely roasted off the line. Yeah, you gotta...
You can't tell the boys about that one.
Yeah, probably not like the the best idea for a police officer to be doing.
Race for your freedom.
To protect and serve and to live my life a quarter mile at a time.
No, dude, this cop's sick. Badass.
All right, who wins today?
I'm going with the bigamist preacher.
Yeah,
You can't write a book about staying loyal in your marriage and then go marry a second woman.
As bad a look as it is to engage in videotape street racing with a fellow citizen, not exactly doing your best to keep the streets of Homestead, Florida safe. Yeah, this guy literally wrote the book on marriage, and had two of them running at once.
The Monte Ellis of marriage, getting shots up. No, man, this other story, I learned this from the 1994 Great American Classic Clerks. Title does not dictate behavior. And if I want to be a cool street racer, just because I'm a police officer doesn't mean I can't do that. Kind of love this dude. Also, I can't imagine that investigation takes long. Like, aren't you assigned a specific car? Like,
yeah.
Oh, who is in car number 84B? If it's hard to find that out, I feel like you have other problems.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the quality of the video is. You got him in 4K. I would imagine it might be pretty easy to figure out. So the bigamist preacher is moving on to tomorrow's semifinals. Again, we are very short for time on our Thursday show. At least that is the plan, because the Royals play a day game out west. So that means we'll have What Is Wrong With You Tuesday and Wednesday. And that'll be the end of What Is Wrong With You for the month of April, which means we got our semifinals for the month tomorrow and our championship on Wednesday. Hey, Brendan, we're going to talk some NFL draft after the break. You want to hang around?
Brother, you have entered my wheelhouse.
Let's do it. We're going to talk some more NFL draft when we come back on 580 Sports Talk. .437 on 580 Sports Talk. Dan and Brenda hanging out with you this Monday afternoon. How much NFL draft did you absorb over the weekend? I know you took a little holiday over the weekend, a little family holiday. I like holiday better than vacation.
What is this, England?
Yes. I'm
in the Commonwealth?
I'm auditioning for a gig at the BBC, yes.
Okay.
You did a little holiday, but how much draft did you absorb?
Tough times at the BBC, by the way. Football Focus canceled after 52 years.
Man.
Yeah, brutal for the footy fans over there. I consumed quite a bit. Round one, obviously. I mean, we were doing the live show. I was home for that. My kid goes to bed early. Okay? Like,
sure.
Very early. I found...
Wow, the dream.
We were talking about this the other day. It was like, oh, my kid was up till like 10 the other night. Oh, my kid gets put down at like 6:30.
So I don't know if you're registered for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library.
Oh, you bet your ass I am.
So
I should say.
Dolly Parton sends us a new book every month.
We love Dolly.
And this month, Dolly personally sent the Lucero clan a book called The Baby Who Stayed Awake Forever. And I felt like
we brought it on our trip with us.
I thought that was cruel. It's a very funny book. It's probably a little advanced for Ash at his age, but it's very funny. Like, I read it through the first time and I laughed.
Yes.
And it's but a little ironic in some regards with what we're going through presently. But anyhow, continue.
Yes, it is very funny. We brought that one on the trip. We love Dolly's Imagination Library, excuse me. But so Friday night, rounds 2 and 3 of the draft, it was my wife's night to put her down to sleep. So while she is trying desperately in a hotel where doors are slamming constantly to get our kid to sleep, I just sat on the bed and opened up the iPad and watched from like pretty much right after the Chiefs picked through the end of day 2 of the draft. And then day 3 caught some of it. We were at the Omaha Zoo all day.
Sure.
So I got the Packers and Chiefs picks updated to my phone constantly. And then
as an owner of the Green Bay Packers, how are you feeling about your team's work? The people who work for you, how do you feel like they did?
So I feel very self-conscious about it, honestly, because I've gone back and like Dane Brugler, who's the best draft analyst, had the Packers like 26 out of 32. I've seen some like the consensus grades had the Packers like 22nd. I loved Green Bay's draft. I thought we did a phenomenal job.
I thought I've been a big Brandon Cisse fan the entire process. For
Green Bay, might end up a Seahawk.
For Green Bay to get him 52, I thought was a real coup. Like, I thought they did fine.
Denied Dennis Sutton from Penn State. A lot of folks I know who are Packers analyst fans thought he was going to go in the second round. Got him in the 4th. Well, we did trade 2 picks for a kicker, but I do the same thing in Madden. Like, I have 2 7s. No thanks. 6th rounder instead. Let's move up. And we need a kicker because Brandon McManus, not great in the postseason last year. Missed 3 kicks in a game we lost by 4. So there you go. I love the Packers draft, all things considered, honestly. Without a first rounder, our first rounder was half of Micah Parsons. Good with me. I'm locked in there. I was thrilled. I was happy with it.
Are you thumbs up or down on the Chiefs draft, or are you like me, thumb kind of in the middle?
I'm like trending slightly downward with it. Like, it could be better. I did not love R. Mason Thomas as a prospect. Now, is it different? I appreciate the Chiefs doing something new and saying, you know what? We've always had the big hulking, silverback gorilla defensive end. Like, we want these big
265, 270.
So you know what? Our Mason Thomas doesn't quite fit that threshold. He's a speed rusher. We haven't had a speed rusher. Like, let's try something new. And I do appreciate that. That being said, I didn't really love him as a prospect because if he's not beating you with speed, he's not beating you with anything. But maybe it works. And I'm opening the door to that could end up working out. I don't hate the idea of drafting Nussmeier in the 7th round, honestly.
Yeah, I was honestly intrigued by that.
I kind of liked it. Like, you're talking about a guy who I thought was a 3rd round prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I, did a full tape evaluation, but I've watched Garrett Nussmeier play plenty. NFL pedigree. Hopefully he gets his back cyst thing figured out. Like, that's a dude who could be a long-term backup for you.
A long-term backup or somebody who, has a nice week 18 performance. Yep. And then you turn him into a 3rd round pick from a quarterback needy team down the road.
So I liked the back of the draft. I liked Emmett Johnson. I actually liked that pick quite a bit. I saw some talk about him like, could he be it's not a good running back class. Could he be like the 4th running back taken after the 2 Notre Dame guys and Jonah Coleman from Washington? Like, maybe late 3rd. Don't like him there. 5th round, though, like him quite a bit. So he was probably my favorite pick. I liked the day 3 for the Chiefs more than I liked day 2. And process-wise, more than I liked day 1, honestly. So
yeah, that's again, I just keep coming back to that as being my hang-up. Like, for this draft to make sense, you're going to have to get the most out of a tweener in Mason Thomas, which is not a player you've had around, so not a player you have a track record of getting the most out of. You got to get more production out of Peter Woods than his college team did. And that is very rarely, well, I shouldn't say very rarely, but that is not always a good bet to make. And then Mansour Delane's got to be an all-pro. Now, I've heard from enough people now, and Matt Verderam, our NFL insider, joining us in 3 o'clock hour, says he thinks he'd be an all-pro as a rookie. He thinks he's that good. And if he's that good, then I don't care what you traded to get him. You went and got an all-pro at a position where you're replacing an all-pro. So, but he has to be that good for me to really think that this draft, process-wise and pick-wise, was a good one for the Chiefs. I think there's a path to it being maybe even a great draft. But it's one you really have to, even more so than, you always have to withhold judgment. But you really, I think, got to withhold judgment on this Chiefs draft, given their process.
No, I agree with that. I will say, I have draft grades are always, everybody loves to remind you, you need time. You need time to evaluate. And I've always, you need at least 2, probably 3 years to really grade a draft class. I've swung the pendulum the other way personally, though. Like, it's for fun. It's the way I now feel about draft grades, the way I feel about mock drafts. Like, if you're getting mad, like actually mad at Mel Kiper, take a step back. Just take a step back. Take a breath. It is for fun. It is for entertainment. He works for the Entertainment Sports Programming Network. Like, we don't need to freak out about it. You don't need to tell me, like, oh, we need time to evaluate. No, it's fun. Like, I enjoyed it. I think it's fun to do the draft grades, even when they'd say that my subordinates did not do as well as I think they did for Green Bay.
Whose draft did you love?
I mean, everybody has said Cleveland, but, like, Cleveland took all the players I liked. Like, the 2 wide receivers I was probably the highest on. Yeah. Like, I loved Denzel Boston. By the way, did you catch what Mike Greenberg said about him?
I did not.
About his father, David Boston? They're not related.
No, he didn't say that.
That he was drafted in 99?
No.
Nope, not related. Not even close.
Oh, that rules. They should have done that the entire draft. Just everybody's dad was somebody you've heard of.
Every guy named William. Oh, yes, Big Cat Williams back in his days with the Bears. No, not related. But
Emmett Johnson, I was a huge fan of his father, Moose Johnson, played for the Cowboys.
Now, that would be quite a storyline.
Yeah.
But they took Denzel Boston, who I loved, Casey Concepcion, who I loved. I mean, they just kept taking guys that I liked. It's what the Ravens always do, or the Eagles always do. They just take dudes who, like, oh, yes, I really love watching that guy. So, I mean, I'd probably put Cleveland at the top. They also had 1 million picks.
Right.
So they're probably my number 1, to be completely honest with you.
I really like Baltimore's draft.
Yeah. There you go. They just take guys you like.
I know. Like, yeah, the teams that always draft well, what do you know? They continue to draft well. I think that we are going to be comparing our Mason Thomas and Zion Young, at least around these parts.
Sure.
For the first couple of years of their respective careers. And, like, I think Thomas in a vacuum is displayed better getting to the quarterback ability, like playmaking ability with his speed rush than Young did. But Young was much more of the, okay, I see how this player fits in a Steve Spagnuolo defense kind of player.
Yeah.
Which is why it was surprising they went with Thomas with Young still on the board. But I think we're going to be comparing those 2 players for a long time. Ravens ended up with Elijah Surratt in the 4th round, too, as a receiver.
Love that one.
Really liked for the Chiefs. Yeah, I like the Ravens draft quite a good bit. I thought that was of the AFC contenders, I think I like their draft the best.
So fringe contender here, a draft I loved, except for 1 pick, was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I really liked Maxi Onachor, the offensive tackle they got. They wanted to take Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver from USC.
And they got jumped by the Eagles.
They were on the phone with him.
Yeah.
And the Eagles jumped him. I think they got a really good prospect in the Onachor who's barely played. He started playing football in JUCO. You got to be a freak to experience that and come through on the other side and be an NFL player. I really like the Onachor. Jeremy Bernard, the wide receiver from Alabama. Not like a star or anything, but they just need pass catchers. And
yes. No, I like Bernard quite a bit.
Had Pittman, they have Metcalf, they had him. I certainly like that wide receiver room. Jennings Dunker, the offensive lineman from Iowa, like him and his mullet. Riley Novakowski, and they also took Eli Heidenreich from Navy. Like, I love these dudes. They also drafted Drew Aller. What are you doing?
Yeah, the Steelers get an F just for the Aller pick in the third
You're
round.
in Pennsylvania. I know you saw Penn State games. He can't. One of the worst decision makers I've ever seen by a fourth-year senior. What are you doing?
Matt Verderam talked at length about this in the first hour of the show. Like, either you take your quarterback really early or you get him really late. If you're taking a quarterback in the third round, like, what are you even doing? That's where you expect to get a contributor. What is Drew Aller for the Steelers next year? QB3? Because everybody knows Rodgers is going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody in the world knows Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback next year. Will Howard's already in camp. He's your QB2. So best case scenario, you got
Mason Rudolph is still around.
Yes. So best case scenario, you got a third string quarterback with the 76th overall pick. And worst case scenario, the Drew Aller that comes to camp is the Drew Aller I saw be the reason Penn State was underachieving and that James Franklin got fired.
And look, man, like I don't think Mason Rudolph is a good player. Like, I genuinely think he's one of the lesser quarterbacks on a roster. But if everything goes, Rodgers gets hurt and you just need to keep it on the rails for like a week or for a half or something, Mike McCarthy can get Mason Rudolph across the finish line. It might not be pretty, but he's going to get him across the finish line. I don't think you can do that with Drew Aller. I like Will Howard better than I like Drew Aller in the NFL. And we are biased because we covered him for years, and I like Will as a person, and say what you will about the recent comments about K-State. I still think Will Howard is a better NFL quarterback prospect than Drew Aller. He went 3 rounds later a year ago. Preposterous. Because other than that, I loved their draft. I really did. I thought that whole division had a great draft, except that pick.
They took a kick returner in the 4th round. I don't know how I feel about
that.
I don't think Caden Weegan can play offense, but whatever. You know what else in this draft I did not like? The Buffalo Bills. Low ceiling edge, TJ Parker. Davison Igbinosun is a walking penalty flag. Skylar Bell, I think, could maybe be have really helped the team in the 4th round, but he's just so redundant. He's like every other Bills wide receiver.
Yes, because I liked Skylar Bell. I thought that could be, a nice slot option, but you have a million of these dudes. You have so many of them. That pick did not make sense to me. That was a team that I thought, go get a big dude, just like the Chiefs. Go get a guy who's big. No, they took a little guy. I did not like. I like the player. I did not like the fit there. Yeah, that was a weird draft overall. Took a former Jayhawk though, Armaje Reed Adams.
They did. A couple of Jayhawks went in the draft. Enrique Cruz to the 49ers. Emmanuel Henderson, the wide receiver in the 6th round to the Seahawks. The 49ers and the Seahawks must have scouts who have property in Douglas County. Like, those teams end up with a lot of Jayhawks.
Look, there's worse places to live than West Lawrence. If we're being honest.
Listen, it's lovely. They got there's a Johnny's Tavern on that side of town. They got
there is
a nice golf course. So those 2 Jayhawks got drafted. Speaking as a Seahawks fan, real quick about the Henderson pick, it's gonna be tough for him. They got 5 wide receivers probably already ahead of him in the depth chart, and they've got return specialists in Rashid Shaheed and Torrey Horton, but I think he can make the team as a gadget guy. Like, the Seahawks' whole thing is we're going to generate explosive plays, and there weren't many receivers in America better at generating explosive plays last year than Emmanuel Henderson. So I think he's going to a team that can value what he does. And I think he got a decent chance, at the very least, to develop on their practice squad. For K-State, Sam Hecht ended up with Carolina, and VJ Payne was also selected. Yes,
7th rounder to the Jets.
I thought he'd go a couple of rounds higher. I kind of liked that fit for him going to play for Aaron Glenn. I thought they did a really nice job addressing their secondary with D'Angelo Pons in the 2nd round. In addition to Payne, they also took Kate Klubnik in the 4th round.
They had the most bizarre draft. Like, I love D'Angelo Pons. I know he's little, but he's Aaron Glenn. Like, he drafted himself. I like D'Angelo Pons. I like Bailey enough. I can't believe they took Cade Klubnik in the 4th round. Like, that's a core piece of a team in the 4th. Like, you're getting a guy who's a spot starter, a rotational guy, a core 4 special teamer. They took a guy who can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Yeah.
who got worse. Like Aller, he got worse over time. I would not want to draft in the top 5 rounds a guy whose arrow is pointing down.
Some of these quarterbacks that got drafted, like Baron Morton got drafted.
Crazy.
The Patriots took Baron Morton in the 7th round. Last seen urinating down his leg in a playoff game against a real ACC defense.
Would you rather have Cade Klubnik as a 4th rounder or Jalen Daniels as a UDFA?
Oh, Daniels as a UDFA.
I mean, he got like legit money. I would imagine he's going to be a Buccaneers practice squad guy. If I had to guess.
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, they gave him $270,000 guaranteed. That's a lot for a UDFA. We knew it was a bad year for quarterbacks, but then you look at where these guys went, like who picked them and where, and like this was a really bad year for quarterbacks.
Yes, abysmal year for quarterbacks.
Before we get to a quick commercial break here to round out this 4 o'clock hour, I want to talk to you guys about my friends at Calhoun's. You've heard me talk about them for years. Got my wife's ring there, her engagement ring, both of our wedding bands. I'm still wearing mine. Shout out to our What Is Wrong With You guy today. I'm wearing mine, one woman
for your
me.
one wife.
Yes. For my one single wife, yes. I've had nothing but great experiences with the folks at Calhoun's. Kurt and his entire staff, they've been absolutely great. And now you can enjoy that same experience because the spring sale is coming up now through May 31st. You can get up to 60% off store-wide. The compliments will never end, but the sale will. So go check out my friends at Calhoun's Jewelers, 1801 Southwest Gage Boulevard here in Topeka for the spring sale. Up to 60% off store-wide now through May 31st.
We'll be back to wrap up this 4 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk after this. Wrapping up this 4 o'clock hour at 580 Sports Talk. Brendan, I shared earlier what my favorite draft moment was. Avion Terrell getting drafted by the same team that already employs his brother, AJ.
Yeah,
and then being awesome at each other's draft party. Did you have a favorite draft moment, something that happened during the draft that you really enjoyed for one reason or another?
I mean, that's right up there. I think getting all this is more and more every year, but getting all the international fans is awesome. And getting them involved in the day 3 picks.
I wish they'd be put on a timer, some of them, but yes, their enthusiasm is top notch.
That's certainly true. Getting the Nigerian kid, UR Bernard, drafted, that's awesome. His stuff is just freaky. The coolest story, or funniest story, maybe, kind of a cruel funny. Dallin Bentley, who went with the second to last pick of the draft, the tight end from Utah. Dane Brugler of The Athletic, the guy who writes The Beast, had this. He had one varsity snap, one, when he was in high school. He was too small for 3 years, had a massive growth spurt, had a 40-yard touchdown, and broke his leg first game of his senior year, went on a mission, went to JUCO, transferred to Utah, got drafted. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Lots of neat stories there in the 7th round of the draft. Brendan, it was good to have you for a bit here today.
Good to see you. Let's do it again soon.
We got headlines and some more draft talk coming up, 5 o'clock hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Third and final hour of this Monday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero with you, hanging out solo the rest of the way here on 580 WIBW FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our streaming video channels, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. With you until 6 o'clock tonight. No Royals baseball. Boys in Blue will be back in action tomorrow, opening up a 3-game series against the Sacramento Athletics. Major League Baseball won't call them that, but they don't own me. I will refer to them how I please. The Sacramento Athletics hosting the Royals for a 3-game set starting tomorrow night. Late night, well, relatively speaking. 9:10, I think, first pitch. Or let me double check on that. Might be closer to 8:40. Let me double check. 8:40 p.m. First pitch. So 8:40 Central. So 8 o'clock pregame tomorrow night and also Wednesday night. Thursday's game is the day game. 1:30 pregame, 2:05 first pitch. And so obviously we're going to be pretty well preempted on Thursday. We'll have, obviously, we would anticipate having something of a 5 o'clock hour on Thursday, but we'll be a little short that day. One more hour to hang out here today and plenty more to get to, including a full slate of 580 Sports Talk headlines. Look at some undrafted free agents of note following the NFL draft, ones with some local ties, and the Chiefs UDFA class, some players of note there. Also, a big developing story from Big 12 football today, and also an NCAA story of note. And, of course, we wouldn't leave you hanging without a playoff roundup. You got to get caught up from the weekend after all. So we got a playoff roundup coming up, too. We're going to talk some college hoops. The transfer portal, once again, fruitful for both KU and K-State, as both landed a big man in the portal over the weekend. We'll talk about that. And maybe, just maybe, the Tyran Stokes drama will end this week. Maybe it will even end today. Who knows? Only Tyran Stokes knows. And he's not telling anyone. And that is making for some extremely nervous Jayhawk basketball fans. So we'll get into that a little bit. And some final thoughts on the Chiefs draft. I'll tell you who my favorite Chiefs pick is and what I see as the year one impact for the players that the Chiefs selected with their 7 picks in the 2026 draft. Want to hear from you as we go along this final hour. 785-272-9429 is the number. 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us on our YouTube channel. We got the live chat running while we broadcast live on our YouTube stream. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Hop on in that live chat and say hello. We added a subscriber today. Appreciate that. I want to get to 950 before the end of the week. I think we can do that. We're 5 subscribers away from being 50 subscribers away from 1,000. Let's take a little bite before we take the big bite. I know we got 5 more of you out there that have not subscribed to the YouTube channel. Go make it happen. Go slam that subscribe button, either at youtube.com or on the YouTube app, on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. But before we get back to the sports and get into our headlines, we got one more keyword today for our Win 1K a Day giveaway here on 580 WIBW. This is our final week of the Win 1K a Day sweepstakes, where we've got 5 more days in which we are going to give away $1,000 to a lucky listener from 580 WIBW. The way that you get registered for your chance to win is to text the keyword each hour. One keyword is one entry. If you get 2 keywords, maybe you hear them all during our show. Send them in 3 times. It's 3 entries effectively. If you get the 3, the 4, and the 5 o'clock word. Anyway, you have 5 o'clock word, which you will text to 785-272-9429, and that will get you entered for your chance to win $1,000. The keyword for this hour, you have until 6 o'clock to text the word fresh. Fresh. F-R-E-S-H. Fresh. Fresh. F-R-E-S-H. Text fresh to 785-272-9429. You have until 6 o'clock to do that. And that will get you registered for your chance to win $1,000 today. Win 1K a day sweepstakes on 580 WIBW. All right, let's get into some sports talk headlines, shall we? And there are never a shortage of those to get to over a weekend. And once again, we have plenty to get to today. But we'll start local, taking a look at some undrafted free agents, UDFAs of note. We'll start with the ones from the area Big 12 schools. Kansas State has had, at least to public knowledge, 2 UDFAs, or 3 rather, so far. Wide receiver J.B. Bradley, who missed a chunk of last season due to injury, but big body wide receiver target for Avery Johnson last season. He has signed as a UDFA with the Los Angeles Chargers. Also heading out west, defensive tackle Uso Seumalo. He's going to Seattle for a tryout opportunity with the Seahawks as a UDFA. Gunnar Maldonado, the safety who's a transfer from Arizona, got a rookie camp invite from the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, what's the difference, you might be asking? I can clarify that. If you are signed as an undrafted free agent, that means you've been added to the 90-man preseason roster. You have a spot on the 90-man preseason roster that will go through the OTAs and go through training camp, and with a chance to make the final 53. Rookie camp is effectively a tryout, and there will be players who sign to the 90-man roster from rookie camp, but rookie camp, all that gets you is a look. All that gets you is a couple of days, but at most, or minimum. But that's the difference between being signed and getting an invite to camp at this stage. Handful of Kansas Jayhawks were signed as UDFAs. We mentioned earlier, Jalen Daniels is heading to Tampa Bay and got some real money from Tampa Bay in the UDFA process. Got like a real signing bonus from them to join their quarterback room. Also signing as a UDFA out of Kansas, kicker Laith Marjan is headed to Pittsburgh with the Steelers. Wide receiver Levi Wentz, who is from, I think, the Seattle area. He will get a chance to play for his hometown team as he is a Seahawk. And defensive tackle Tommy Dunn also going home. He's a Dallas metro area native, and he signed a UDFA contract with the Cowboys. Cornerback DJ Graham got a camp invite from the New York Giants. As for the Chiefs, mentioned a camp invite for Gunnar Maldonado. They have signed a bunch of players, and I'm not going to sit here and read you the entire list and pretend I know something about everybody who's on this list, because I don't. I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't have a lot for you on James Madison linebacker Trent Hendrick, who got a rookie minicamp invite. But there are certainly some notable names, if you followed college football closely, some names that would stand out that the Chiefs have signed as UDFAs. Former Oklahoma and Cal running back Jaden Ott will get a UDFA opportunity, as will Cincinnati wide receiver Jeff Caldwell. So fascinating. Jeff Caldwell is exactly the kind of receiver that we've been agitating for the Chiefs to bring in and draft. Big, freaky athlete. He's 6'5". He's got good speed. He's got, there's video of him like scaling a beam on a staircase outside of, I think, somebody's stadium, like doing like full-on parkour. It doesn't even look real. It might not be real. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm usually pretty good about not getting suckered by AI, but somebody posted that who I would have trusted would not have posted some AI slop. But anyway, Jeff Caldwell, big-time athlete. Transfer from Lindenwood. Actually got to see him play at Lindenwood when they played Kansas at Children's Mercy Park, Sporting Park, out there when KU was playing their home games there 2 seasons ago. And he transferred to Cincinnati for his final year of eligibility, had a nice year, and now has a UDFA opportunity with the Chiefs. I'll be interested to see how that goes for him. I think he's a dark horse roster candidate, given, again, he's got tools nobody else in that wide receiver room really has, notably height. Also signing UDFA contracts with the Chiefs. Wyoming tight end John Michael Gillenborg. That is noteworthy. We talked about him really through the draft process as if the Chiefs took a tight end, he might be somebody of interest. They had brought him in, I believe, for a 30. They had definitely brought him, I don't know if it was a 30, but they definitely brought him in for their local camp, their mini camp that they got to invite some local prospects because Gillenborg went to Rockhurst. He's from the other side of the state line there in KC-Mo. And he'll get an opportunity with his hometown team, which is very cool. Iowa safety Xavier Wonkpa also signed at as a UDFA. Really liked him as a college player. And always keep an eye on those UDFA defensive backs because it feels like one or two of them get an opportunity every year. Kevin Knowles, Chris Rowland Wallace. That would be the name that I would say might have the best chance to be the next one of those guys out of the Chiefs UDFA class. They also gave a camp invite to Rasul Faison, running back out of South Carolina. A lot of mock drafts. A couple of mock drafts had Faison mocked to the Chiefs in the 5th or the 6th round. So that is a name, obviously, that the Chiefs were on and one to maybe keep an eye on in that running back room. So that is the latest, and of course, there will be more opportunities that leak out. Some of those things are not public. Some of those things they kind of filter out in little spurts. But for the most part, a lot of that business is done. Most of those UDFA contracts have been handed out. Next headline: we'll keep it local on the diamond over the weekend. It's a good weekend to be a Jayhawk. It was not a good weekend to be a Wildcat. KU sweeping Kansas State at Toynton Family Stadium over the weekend. The Jayhawks are now 17-4 in the Big 12. Won yesterday's rain-delayed game. They had about a 5-hour rain delay, and the Jayhawks hung on to win that game. KU's only made the postseason 6 times in program history, and they've never played at home in the regionals. Not only does that look like there is a very real chance that that changes, Kansas, if they keep winning in Big 12 play, and they've got winnable series left, if they run and hide and win the Big 12, run away with it, there's an outside chance they can end up a national seed. They can end up one of the top 8 seeds, get a national seed with a chance to host a super regional. That is in play for Kansas. They have won 23 of their last 26. They are 17-4 in the Big 12, and their RPI is 12. That doesn't guarantee anything. There's still 3 series left to play in the Big 12 plus, midweek games. But KU is trending towards a regular season Big 12 championship for one, and the possibility not just of hosting, but maybe snagging a national seed. That is on the table for these Kansas Jayhawks. The flip side of that, Kansas State, after getting swept at home, dropping to 9-12 in Big 12 play, their RPI now is 59, and that puts the Batcats on the wrong side of the NCAA tournament bubble. They've got to bounce back. They've got a much tougher run in Big 12 play. They still got to play UCF. I think they still have to play West Virginia. It's going to be a tough road for Pete Hughes' group. They are too talented to miss the NCAA tournament. They are talented enough that I'm not writing off 9 strong Big 12 games and maybe a run in the Big 12 tournament that maybe sneaks them into the field. But this is not a team that should be talking about sneaking into the field. They have been let down by their pitching, their relief pitching in particular, that has not backed one of the best lineups in the Big 12. Very frustrating year ongoing for the Batcats as they lose 3 at home to KU on the weekend. Let's move on from the local sports scene. Let's get to what is probably the biggest sports headline of the day as our 580 Sports Talk headlines continue. Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby is checking into a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. Now, that is the portion of the story that broke first. Texas Tech released a statement saying that Sorsby was going to be checking into a residential treatment program for a gambling addiction. And there were quotes in the press release, in the statement, from head coach Joey McGuire at Texas Tech, who said, quote, "We love Brendan and support his decision to seek professional help. Taking this step requires courage, and our primary focus is on him as a person. Our program is behind Brendan as he prioritizes his health." And if you're like me, You probably saw that statement and said, oh, they're out ahead of something. This isn't the kind of thing that just happens and there's a press release about it. They're out in front of something. What's the something? Well, it did not take long for the something to be reported. Pete Thamel of ESPN.com had it first. Sorsby's decision to seek treatment, according to sources, came in the wake of discovery of Sorsby making thousands of online bets on a variety of sports via a gambling app, which jeopardizes his eligibility with Texas Tech. The NCAA is investigating Sorsby's gambling as the organization forbids athletes from betting on both college and pro sports. Now, you may recall that briefly, the NCAA considered changing the rule about betting on pro sports and allowing student athletes to bet on pro sports. That was overturned, essentially vetoed. 2/3 of Division I schools says, yeah, at least 2/3 said, no, we don't agree with that rule change. So it is still in place. You cannot bet on college sports. You cannot bet on pro sports. And everybody knows the rules. And if the wages of this punishment, if Sorsby's gambling meets the threshold of punishment set out by the NCAA, there's a very real chance that Texas Tech spent a lot of money on a quarterback who is not going to play it down for them in 2026. Thamel writes, the NCAA has a strict policy against any type of gambling by athletes on intercollegiate, amateur, or professional athletics competition, and violators are ineligible for competition, subject to appeal. Any NCAA gambling case would be investigated by NCAA enforcement, then handled by the organization's Division I Committee on Infractions. It has been reported that Sorsby bet on Indiana football games in 2022 when he was a redshirt freshman, or a true freshman who was redshirting at Indiana. Sorsby played in one game as a reserve. He bet on his own team to win, and none of his bets came in a game in which Sorsby appeared. I hope he bet wisely. Indiana went 4-8 that year, and I'm guessing Sorsby appeared in one of those wins. Anyhow, it's also been reported by Brett McMurphy of On3 that among Sorsby's gambling activities were attending a Cincinnati Reds game and betting on individual pitch outcomes, and betting amounts as low as a single dollar per pitch. So I'm of two minds on this. Number one, the encroachment of gambling has not been a good mix, a good thing for a lot of people who have that compulsion and they get hooked on it. You get hooked on gambling because you can get hooked on gambling. And then you walk around all day with a casino in your pocket, right? And it's this thing that's always in your pocket that you're addicted to. And not just in your pocket, but also sending you emails, sending you notifications. Hey, got a no sweat bet in the NBA tonight on FanDuel. Or, hey, give you $5 bet, no sweat on a parlay. If you lose, no big deal. Just come on back to DraftKings. Just open up that app. Go ahead and get a bet. Get some action down tonight. What do you got to lose? Literally nothing. We'll refund your bet and bonus bets. And you just walk around with that in your pocket all day. It's a little bit like if you were an alcoholic and Coors Light could send you emails every day. Hey, notice you haven't had a beer in a few hours. And then if Coors Light had developed an app that could pour you a beer. It's bad. It's really bad. It's really dangerous. And a lot of young people particularly are susceptible to this and fall prey to this. And I have a level of sympathy for somebody who gets ensnared in a gambling addiction. But the flip side is everybody knows the rules. Everybody knows what you can and can't do. And this is one of the can't do's. And I don't have a lot of wiggle room for somebody who violated a cannot do. If it is true that Brendan Sorsby was gambling in large amounts or even like at volume but small amounts repeatedly in violation of NCAA rules, then he shouldn't play next year. He shouldn't. I don't even particularly care if it was, what was the kid from Iowa State, Hunter Deckers. He had to transfer to an NAIA school because he was ineligible in the NCAA. And I think he ended up gambling like $2,800 was all it was. Well, Number one, I think if it was just $2,800, I don't think Brendan Sorsby would be going to gambling rehab. But number two, I don't have sympathy for Hunter Deckers. You broke the rule. You knew what the rule was. Everybody knows what the rules are, and you broke them, and you got to pay the piper. And it seems like Brendan Sorsby's going to have to pay the piper too. And I feel, to an extent, feel bad for him. I think that the behavior of some of the more prominent national gambling apps is absolutely predatory and needs to be monitored more closely. But everybody knows the rules. And if you broke the rules, then Will Hammond, hello. You're the new starting quarterback of the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Next headline. Here's another NCAA headline for you today. This is also from Pete Thamel of ESPN. NCAA President Charlie Baker told ESPN today that he's pretty optimistic that the new age-based eligibility proposal will be made law. But the D1 Board of Directors met today and will recommend not to implement the rule retroactively for graduates and those who have exhausted eligibility. So there won't be a grandfather clause in for anybody who finished their college career in 2026, played what was thought to be their final year. There's not an appeal on the table. There's not an extra red shirt or anything like that. So this would end the college career, for example, of Melvin Council or Trey White, just to use two local examples. Those players out of eligibility, and they would not be able to get a fifth year due to this new rule, which is, again, 5 years in college to play 5 years. No red shirts, no waivers. I think the only exceptions are maternity and missions. And your clock starts when you turn 19 or when you graduate high school. And then in 5 years, you're done. You're done playing college sports. And the NCAA director, the president, Charlie Baker, does expect that is going to pass and that nobody is going to be grandfathered in, which you had to do it that way, given that like the transfer portal for basketball is currently open. You can't have guys out there with like legitimate questions about, well, this is an NCAA rule change, so now am I eligible? Do I have one more year? You have to shut that down. This is the only way. And I still don't like the rule, to be honest with you. I don't think there are enough. I think doing it by age is too restrictive. I think it should start when you enroll in college, frankly. But no grandfather clause for players who just wrapped up or exhausted their eligibility. Quick trip to the winner's circle. Carson Hochevar, a winner at Talladega. He was really fired up about it, and I loved hearing his in-car audio after he won the race. And the first person he thanked, not his crew chief, not I don't know if Carson's married. I don't know if it, thanked his parents, thanked his the guy who changed his tires or whoever. First thing out of his mouth, thank you, Chili's. And I'll be honest, I've said that many a time in my life too. I have thanked Chili's many a time in my life with equal emotion and fervor. But Carson Hochevar, your winner at Talladega. The Fitzpatrick brothers won the team event, the Zurich Classic in New Orleans on the PGA Tour. And the cool thing about this, that's big brother and major champion and Ryder Cup champion Matt Fitzpatrick helping little brother Alex get a PGA Tour card for being a winner on tour. That's a pretty cool story. Shout out to the Fitzpatrick brothers. All right, time for a playoff roundup.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
We'll start on Frozen Pond. You know me, I'm all puck all the time. I've never even heard of basketball. Certainly don't like the sport. Certainly don't have a favorite team. I'm a hockey guy. I am Mr. Pucks and sticks and ice and blades. I'm all about hockey all of the time. You know that about me. The Colorado Avalanche and the Carolina Hurricanes are both moving on to the semifinals in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The top seeds at each conference made light work of their first-round foes. Carolina finished off a sweep of Ottawa on Saturday. Colorado did the same to the Los Angeles Kings with a 5-1 win yesterday. Also yesterday, Buffalo dropped 4 goals in the first period on their way to an easy 6-1 win over Boston. The Sabres lead that playoff series 3-1. Tampa Bay won at Montreal. That series is even at 2 games apiece. Anaheim scored an overtime winner, just barely. We think replay looked like that puck was pretty clearly over the red line. Edmonton felt a little aggrieved by it because you couldn't technically see the entire puck. It was obscured by goaltender Tristan Jarry's skate blade. But come on, that puck was over the line. That was a game winner for Anaheim, and the 2-time defending Western Conference champion Oilers are on the brink. The Ducks lead that series 3-1. Tonight, Philadelphia hopes to eliminate Pittsburgh. That game at Pittsburgh. The Flyers lead the series 3-1. Utah and Vegas play game 4 of their series. Utah with a 2-1 series lead after winning game 3 at home. Over in the NBA, we have not had any teams advance to the second round just yet. The Lakers missed their chance. Off night for LeBron James and company. Houston stays alive. The Rockets win game 4 at home over the Lakers. That series is 3-1 LA. Toronto wins a slog over Cleveland in Toronto last night. That series is even at 2 games apiece. The next highlight clip I see from that series on social media or television will be the first. They might as well be playing that first round series at a CIA black site for all anybody is aware of anything going on in that series. Also, Victor Wembanyama returned after missing game 3 due to a concussion and helped his Spurs blast the Blazers in Portland to go up 3-1. Joel Embiid also returned after missing 2 weeks with an appendectomy. He did not have a similar effect on his team. The Sixers blown out by the Celtics in Philadelphia. Boston leads that series 3-1. Tonight, we could have a couple of eliminations in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City can finish off a sweep of the Suns. The shorthanded Timberwolves, who are down their starting backcourt. Dante DiVincenzo tore his Achilles in game 4, and Anthony Edwards injured his knee and will be out multiple weeks. But even shorthanded, they appear to be a lot better than the floundering Nuggets, and they can mercy kill a Denver team that I sincerely hope fires their head coach tomorrow morning after they lose tonight. Eastern number 1 seed Detroit can try and even their series in Orlando after the Magic, the 8th seed, won game 3. That series 2-1 in favor of the Magic. That's your playoff roundup. We'll come back. A little bit of transfer portal talk on the program when we return. Both KU and K-State getting bigger. And K-State, the more I look at that roster, the more I feel like Casey Alexander knows exactly what he's doing. We'll talk about that and maybe, just maybe, the end of the Tyran Stokes saga on the way. That's coming up here on 580 Sports Talk. 5:36 on 580 Sports Talk. Thanks for hanging out on this Monday evening. Hopefully much less severe weather on the way tonight. Anybody's basement flood? I don't say that to be flip. That sucks, obviously. But this morning, my wife was telling me, man, I know quite a few colleagues, coworkers who had a little flooding in their basement. Can you go check, make sure our basement didn't flood? And it didn't. Thank goodness. But that was quite the rainstorm that we got through here last night. And for anybody dealing with any flooding, any basement flooding, man, thoughts are with you, because that is no kind of fun. So hopefully we stay much drier and much further out of the range of that tonight. John in the YouTube chat says his basement flooded. Man, sorry to hear that. I am sorry to hear that. That sucks. Just grateful that ours held up. Grateful that ours held up overnight. Also kind of spooked my son. He's been kind of taking up residence in our bed at night lately anyhow. But last night was definitely one of those, like, yeah, I need to be near mom and dad. And yeah, I understand. Those are scary noises out there when you're not yet 2 years old. So both Kansas and Kansas State did some business in the transfer portal over the weekend. Kansas's edition actually happened late Friday. It was kind of close to when we were going off the air on Friday. Christian Reeves, 7-footer out of College of Charleston, previously at Duke, is the newest big man for the Jayhawks. And the 4-5 rotation for Bill Self is now pretty well settled with Reeves and Paul Mbia and Keanu Dawes. And the one thing that strikes me as pretty obvious about what Kansas has prioritized in the front court, number one, obviously size. Like, Mbia is huge. Reeves is a 7-footer. And Keanu Dawes at 6'9" is much more of a power forward type of four than your stretch four that we've kind of seen KU employ in recent years. But the other thing that's very obvious for Kansas is they feel like they need to rebound the basketball better. Christian Reeves' advanced rebounding numbers are very good. He's been a very good rebounder. He's been a solid defender. Probably not a guy you're going to run a lot of sets for. Somebody you can finish an alley-oop. But rebounding and defense are going to be his strengths. And Keanu Dawes is a terrific rebounder. And it's not just rebounding. It's quite specifically offensive rebounding. Second chances. Extra possessions. Possessions are so important in college basketball because, well, it's a 40-minute game, 30-second shot clock, limited number of possessions. You have to make the most out of the possessions that you get. And part of making the most out of the possessions you get is maybe getting 2-3 opportunities per possession. Kansas has not been a good rebounding team. They were not a good offensive rebounding team last year. And bigger teams beat them up. And now Kansas has a chance with a much bigger and more physical front court to maybe dish out a little bit of physicality, a little bit of that medicine this coming season. So there's not probably a star. I like Keanu Dawes, but I don't think that's an all Big 12 caliber player necessarily. And he could level up. Like, that's happened for guys before. But I don't see that addition and automatically put him in my preseason all Big 12 or anything like that. But I do think that this front court complements each other with their skill sets and with their size. Keanu Dawes is much more apt to be able to shift up and play a small ball center if you run into some foul trouble for Reeves and Mbia. They're a little more equipped. Like, Bryson Tiller wasn't doing that. Bryson Tiller was playing small ball center. They tried. Did not work. Not his game. And that's fine. It's not every four-man's game, but definitely wasn't Bryson Tiller's game. It's a little bit more in Keanu Dawes' wheelhouse. So you can see how the front court is fitting together. They're one piece away in that front court, and it's Tyran Stokes. And there are rumors out there circulating that this is going to be the week that Tyran Stokes finally decides where he is going to play his college basketball. And, of course, it has been widely considered that he's down to Kansas or Kentucky, and the big hang-up is he's a Nike guy, and Kansas is an Adidas school, and that's just a little extra hump that Kansas had to surmount, but everything else has pointed in Kansas' direction. There was some brief consternation that maybe Oregon was back in the mix, because Oregon is, of course, the Nike school, like in so many ways. But it still seems, from everything the insiders are saying, that it's still between Kansas and Kentucky, and that Kansas has moved all offseason as though they are certain Tyran Stokes is coming. Every move they've made, every player they brought in for a visit, every direction they've gone has pointed in the direction of, yeah, we know who's our three next. We know who our three is next year. It's Stokes. And he plays some 4 and some small ball lineups. And they better be right, but they feel like they are. And I know that's a confidence that maybe a fan does not feel, and I understand that. I understand the consternation. I've even waded into the cesspools that are the message boards to read some of the reaction. Man, those are grimy places, those message boards sometimes, man. People say anything behind a username. I'll tell you what, people put the username down and they'll say anything if they don't think it come back to haunt them in real life. But it does sound like that's going to be resolved pretty soon. And I think that the resolution is still going to be one that makes Bill Self and Kansas fans pretty happy. As for K-State, they also added a 7-footer out of the portal. Former Xavier Musketeer Pop Njai committed to the Jayhawks. And the one number that stands out for Njai is that per 40 minutes, he blocked 4 shots a game. And if there was one thing that the Kansas State roster as constructed was most obviously missing, it was rim protection. And they went out and got themselves a 7-footer who can protect the rim. And, oh, by the way, is comfortable stepping out and hitting a shot from distance. Now, he didn't play a ton at Xavier last year and obviously didn't put up a ton of numbers. And that's kind of a recurring theme for a lot of guys that Kansas State has brought in. But this is a piece that is complementary to all of the other 6'10", 6'11", 7-foot guys that K-State has brought in. A lot of them are your stretch types. JT Rock is not big, physical, much more of a shooter type at 7'1", but also decent at protecting the rim. And now in Njai, you've got a guy who can absolutely block a shot. And the more that I've watched Kansas State build their roster, the more I see that Casey Alexander absolutely has a plan to not put together a bunch of guys with skill sets that are all the same. Trying to fit guys into certain molds or certain skill sets to where if I need this, I can go play this guy. If we need this, this kid's going to play. If we need this, if we need shooting, we can spread the floor. We can put 5 shooters on the floor. If we need some speed, if we need a little beef, if we need size, there's a lot of different things that Casey Alexander can do with this group. Now, I don't know what the ceiling is. It might not be a very high ceiling for this team. They also just went 3-15 in Big 12 play. Like, any step in the right direction is going to be a real positive one for Casey Alexander in year one. And I think they have a roster that fits, a roster that makes sense, and a coach who knows what he's doing and is capable of developing players can do a lot with a roster that fits together and complements each other. So the expectations are going to be lower. Like, K-State would always add a bunch of portal guys the last couple of years that made you feel like, oh, yeah, this is a tournament team. Yeah, they'll make the tournament. And then that didn't happen. This coach didn't really know what he's doing. This is a different era. Maybe this doesn't feel like a tournament team on paper. But you got a coach who knows what he's doing, and you've got a little bit of everything on this roster. I'm fascinated by it. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Final thoughts on the Chiefs draft, including my favorite pick, my least favorite pick, and are all of these guys going to contribute? Well, other than Garrett Nussmeier, who best case scenario you don't see on the field in 2026, but are the rest of the guys going to contribute in 2026? We'll talk about it next on 580 Sports Talk. Would be remiss if we did not shout out some kids with Kansas ties who were selected in the NFL draft over the weekend or received an opportunity to play at the next level. Malik Benson, former Lansing Lion, well-traveled in his college career. 1 year at JUCO and Florida State, Alabama, and Oregon, I think, in that order. Not a bad group of schools that think you're good enough to play for them. Malik Benson, wide receiver, selected by the Las Vegas Raiders in the NFL draft. Also, Jaron Kanak, former Hayes High standout and linebacker turned tight end at Oklahoma. Signed a deal with, or rather was selected in the 7th round by Tennessee. And the former Linden Tiger, Miles Kitzelman, getting a chance with the Detroit Lions. He played tight end at Alabama after a couple of years at JUCO. And Tennessee as well, Alabama and Tennessee. And he's headed to the Detroit Lions for an opportunity there, camp invite. So salute to the Kansas kids getting that opportunity. And a lot of them taking the long way, junior college route to major D1 to an NFL opportunity, or in Jaron Kanak's case, a position change late in his college career, and still getting that opportunity to be drafted by the Tennessee Titans. As for the Chiefs draft class, I promise you this. My favorite pick of the draft for the Chiefs, all things considered, I think it might be Jaden Kennedy. And the reason that I lean toward Kennedy, the defensive back from Oregon, they announced him as a safety, and then they showed him on ESPN, and they had cornerback next to him. So, number one, versatility. What do the Chiefs love? Versatility. What do the Chiefs love? Mid-round defensive backs. What does Steve Spagnuolo loves? Defensive backs who will bite your kneecaps. Jaden Kennedy is one of those. He is physical. He is feisty. He can play in the slot. He can play a more traditional safety role. He's not real big, but he's fast. Like I say, physical, good in run support. I could see Kennedy being safety number 3 for the Chiefs as a rookie and playing a bunch in that role. Maybe even helping to move Shamari Connor back to that more traditional box safety role and a lot less of him in the slot. You got more slot options now, the Chiefs. Kennedy could play there. Kader Kohu could play in the slot. Christian Fulton could line up in the slot. You're going to end up better in the slot than the Chiefs were having to play Connor there, deciding to play Connor there so much last season where he was really a great fit. So Kennedy's probably my favorite pick in the draft. Just everything about him screams Spags player. And again, the history of the Chiefs developing versatile defensive backs in the middle rounds is pretty undeniable. And if they might have had another one in Jaden Kennedy. I also like the Peter Woods pick. Like that, honestly, I like the Woods pick more than I like the Delane pick because I value the ability to rush the passer from the interior, and there's a world where Peter Woods is a real force. He's got such great feet. He's got good hands. I think he could be unleashed as a pass rusher complement on the interior to Chris Jones that the Chiefs obviously lacked last year. Like their pass rush wasn't great shakes 2 years ago in terms of sacks, but at least Chris Jones had a running mate in Turk Wharton. He had 6.5 sacks. I think the plan was Omar Norman-Lott was going to be Jones's running mate last year, and that didn't really materialize because O&L got hurt in camp, and then he tore his ACL. Peter Woods, I think, could be the Chris Jones complement. Those two lining up to rush the passer from the interior on third down, I think could be special. But that's up to Peter Woods. Like, obviously, the Chiefs have to coach him up, but some of this is up to Peter Woods. Can he produce in a way that he wasn't able to in college? Had a texter ask from the 785, did you have a least favorite pick? Probably Cyrus Allen because he's the same as every other Chiefs wide receiver. And I feel bad saying, well, I hated that pick because, like, your dream to hear your name and go to the NFL. Like, Cyrus Allen was a good player at Cincinnati. There was one, I forget which draft podcast it was, Brendan was telling me about, where they said he is already the best wide receiver on the Chiefs when it comes to beating man coverage. I think that's probably a little bit of an exaggeration. But to me, Allen, he's 5'11", and he's really good underneath and good after the catch. Oh, great. So is every other receiver on the roster. Just Department of Redundancy department kind of pick for me. So that would have been my least favorite pick. Setting aside, again, I didn't love the process making Delane the first round pick, but I don't hate the player. I think the player could be pretty good. I just think he's going to have to be all pro perennially to justify the expense. We'll take one final break. We'll come back and put a wrap on things today here on 580 Sports Talk. Time to wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk with the final word. It was nice to enjoy baseball over the weekend, wasn't it? And Royals fans haven't had a lot to smile about, but the 3-game series sweep over the Los Angeles Angels certainly qualified. It was enjoyable not just because the Royals won. It was enjoyable because of how they won. A pretty routine 6-3 victory on Friday night. A 12-1 drubbing on Saturday night, and then the dramatic come-from-behind win in which the Royals got a game-tying rally down 3 runs with 2 out, nobody on in the 9th, and then, of course, the game-winning home run with 2 out in the 10th to win the game 11-9 with Lane Thomas going yard for his first Royals home run. Those are the kind of series that can give a team some real momentum and spark something in the dugout. Obviously, the Angels aren't real good, but if you can't get some positives out of a series win over even a bad team, because that's what good teams do too, is they sweep bad teams. Like, it was nice for the Royals to feel like the kind of team we thought they had a chance to be for a weekend, even if just so far for that one weekend. Got to keep it rolling. Got to score some runs on the road, which they haven't really done yet. We'll talk more about that looking ahead to their series in Sacramento on tomorrow's show. Back with you tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Brendan Dworzinski, I'm Dan Lucero, and this was 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW. Good night!